Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ad Project Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joe Shelerud, and today I'm joined by Noah Salzl. Noah, he's from Ad Advance. How you doing today?
I am doing pretty well, Joe. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be joined on the podcast by the second tallest person in the office.
That's pretty controversial for those who don't know. It's been disproven, but Joe's pretty committed to it, so we just let him have it.
Noah has a little fluffier hair under that hat that he claims it adds to his height, but I got him.
Yeah, not true.
Yeah, so we wanted to have Noah on the podcast. So Noah's an account manager with us, and previously on the podcast we had Josh on talking through kind of the tentpole strategy, and so leading up to a major sales event day, there's a lot of things that we can do during the lead-up period, during the actual period, and then kind of post that major event and how we optimize our ads for it. Now, since we're post-Prime Day, figured it'd be fun to kind of have Noah on, talk through some of the key strategies that we like to implement, like what's it look like day of, what's key focus areas that we have there. And then overall post Prime Day too, are there some cool things that we can implement overall? I guess in general, let's just take really high level picture, Prime Day, how'd it go this year?
Prime Day was good. It's incredibly busy. So I feel like that is always going to be the case. And sometimes it's just leading up to it. You know, you feel like there's more time than there usually is, and it's a scramble.
Sure.
So this year, Prime Day seemed to come up a little fast. I think they announced it a couple days later. But regardless, putting in the extra hours, making sure that all of these tentpole strategies to increase traffic beforehand were set in place. We still had 3 weeks this year, so that's plenty of time to get those things up and going. Sure. And to be honest, we kind of figured it was going to be about the same time. So there was
we had a good office bet that it was going to be that date. So, yeah.
So, I mean, you got some of the stuff ready in bulk sheets, but just making sure budgets are aligned and stuff like that is really, really one of the biggest things that's going to happen leading up to it. So, that's going on. We did some pretty heavy investment with some of my accounts leading up to it and did a switch kind of on Prime Day. So as much upper funnel as we could, targeting some of the best audiences that we've been discovering throughout the year this year.
Sure.
Really making sure that people are seeing us, people that are in the aisle are seeing us, and making sure that, on the day of, we're switching to the bottom of the funnel to re-engage those people who have shown interest on conversion-heavy days when we have deals for all of our best products.
Yep.
So that's always a good strategy. And this year, another cornerstone here at Ad Advance.
Yeah. And so for those who didn't catch the podcast with Josh, some of the key strategies that we had going into a major event like Prime Day is trying to generate more upper funnel interest and awareness of our brands prior to the actual event. And so what we want to do is make sure that our products are top of mind. Then when people are coming back to actually do the purchase, now they're going to be thinking of us. We're going to be top of mind. Hopefully we're already in their cart or in the wish list, or at least one of those items that they're going to check out for Prime Day itself, to really try to make sure that we're going to be there when they go to do the purchase. And so, as we were talking about upper funnel strategies, for your clients, was it mostly DSP that you were doing, or what were the main items that you used to generate the upper funnel interest?
Yeah, great question. So a handful with DSP and a handful just going after the highest volume search terms in the relevant categories for their products, using the Search Query Performance tool to identify those, making sure that we're showing up top of search as much as possible with the given budget that we have. So it's a mixture of using Marketing Stream to make sure that we're showing up during valuable times of the day. Obviously, these search terms have so much volume that not every seller can afford to be there 100% of the time. So picking and choosing when people aren't delirious at 3 a.m. scrolling aimlessly, like that's not a great time to get a click.
Sure.
More so 6 a.m. is a great time. Conversion rate starts to really spike around then. So being really strategic with on Amazon placements and CPC based ad types, just because it's pretty competitive out there, as everybody knows. So picking and choosing on site with sponsored ads, and then with DSP, just making sure we have the right audiences, using the data that we've built up year to date, and for some clients longer, obviously. So it's a good mixture of both.
Yeah. And so when Noah's talking about Amazon Marketing Stream, essentially what this has allowed us to do is to get the hourly data. We've had some good podcasts previously talking through Stream and then how we can utilize that. So feel free to go back and check out those. But at the end of the day, what we're looking at is what's the best times of the day that click is going to lead to a conversion. And now let's try to use our systems to either implement day party, so you can just advertise during certain times of the day, or continuous bidding, where we're actually increasing bids when people are most likely to convert. And so utilizing Amazon Marketing Stream, that allows us to increase bids at, say, 6 a.m. This is all Pacific time because it's all based off of like Seattle headquarters, versus like 3 a.m. people are much less likely to convert to. So if we have got a set amount of budget, how do we make sure that our ads are showing up at those optimal times during the day? When you looked at like for DSP audiences, like how up the funnel did you go in the lead up period? Like what did the audiences look like for those ads?
Yeah, so there's some pretty broad audiences in there, and really it's about the layering as to how specific you're going to get. So these audiences contain a mixture of extremely high top of the funnel. It's like, what store are you in, right? Are you in Cabela's or are you in Whole Foods?
Sure.
These audiences talk to those broad categories, and then layering down based off of attributes that we've determined are important for our type of products, and even using some competitor-based or AMC audiences sometimes, depending on what the strategy is. So they can be very broad, but really it's the intersections, the Venn diagram of multiple broad audiences together. It's that piece where they all overlap, where we're trying to get to. So that's the beauty of DSP and inclusion and exclusions. So it's pretty broad sometimes.
So you're utilizing those audiences, and we're trying to generate as much awareness and interest going up to the event. Mm-hmm. Now, as we flip to Prime Day, like how does that switch happen, or what do we do, or like how do you kind of change the strategy? To now target more of the conversions versus the awareness? Yeah,
so if I'm good at my job, it just happens, right? I have things planned out. The end dates align with the start and end of Prime days. So
sure. And for those listening too, like we're able to schedule a bunch of these updates in advance too. So when Noah says it just happens, like if we didn't have these scheduling tools, we would have to go in there and do this. Like we're able to like set up, like we're always planning pretty far in advance for Prime Day itself. And then once that Prime Day starts, our campaigns flip because we already have all the inputs already there on what those campaigns should look like during Prime Day.
Yeah, shout out the dev team. They're awesome here at Advance and Matt. I'm sure you all know them. So I'll be more specific. Yeah. So with DSP, you can add flighting, which is really just the duration of a specific campaign, and it's to the hour, to the minute. So with DSP and upper funnel, for the clients that we had this big lead up period and then switched to conversion, that was budgeted in two separate and different piles. And once Prime Day hit, those upper funnel campaigns got, a different flight with different types of budgeting, different types of aggression, different bids. And then these other lower funnel retargeting, for instance, repurchasing cross promo campaigns turned on with a greater budget, shorter duration, just those 2 days. So we're really trying to spend a lot of money on these audiences, these engaged shoppers, So DSP happens just with the flighting. Sponsored ads, yes, Joe's right. We have some great tools where we can schedule future budget changes at a campaign level and at the global daily budget level. So making sure that we're talking to clients, getting final amounts, whether it's at a global daily budget level or just campaign specific. Usually it's just at the high level, and it's my job to kind of divvy it out where we're going to be getting the best returns, or where we're going to achieve the goal that's put in front of me. So those things get scheduled, and like I said, if you're good at your job, you show up on Prime Day and you just start sending out emails and making sure that everything happened like it was supposed to.
Sure.
So you're not actually making the edits, you're more so just checking in, and then you are, raising budgets if it's already run out.
Sure. Yeah. And just a plug for anybody from Amazon who's listening, better budget controls on the portfolio level and making sure that global daily budget applies to all ad types would be highly appreciated. Especially for Prime Day, because what happens is our clients will have a specific budget they want to spend. Global daily budget just applies to sponsor products, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we have other ad types. And so trying to limit these down, we're constantly having to review. When you're on a normal shopping period, normal shopping days, it's a lot easier. But when Prime Day spikes, just not having that core control, that would be extremely appreciated. Portfolio level adds in this extra layer where we could now segment, say, based off of ASIN. So then we can really target profitability on an ASIN level. Lots of good stuff there. So that's one of our key wish list items. I try to throw that in the podcast as much as possible.
It would be great. It'd make my job easier, especially for vendors. I've got a client in the UK where, I get into work at 6 a.m. on Prime Day and it's already noon there, right? And sure. Vendors don't have any caps for anything total. It's all budget specific. So a lot of work went into just making sure that things weren't going to be stifled by lack of budgets just because of the time difference and the time I'm able to get into the office on Prime Day. Yeah. So it takes a lot of planning, and then, making sure that you're keeping track of SB and SD budget increases, because, that's just going to be incremental over what is the current 30-day spend, the trailing average. And plus the budget cap, it takes a little bit of tracking. So yeah, that would be nice, Amazon. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let's talk through DSP strategies day of. So you went through a couple bottom of funnel strategies. Maybe build on those a little bit more. So, all right, there's retargeting. So that you're trying to show ads to anybody that has gone to, say, our product detail page previously, and then make sure we're top of mind so they're seeing our ads throughout the internet or on Amazon.
Exactly. Yeah. So, retargeting, it's going to be getting those people who have already engaged with your detail pages in front of your products again. On Prime Day, it's great to use responsive e-commerce. It's the Amazon created ad because it is tied to their deals API probably.
Yeah.
And will display any discount that they have. So, a mimics detail page kind of gives that call back and it'll give the deal. So that's always a great asset to have for anything or any audience that's based off of that detail page, right? Because it is so similar.
And that's a creative type within Amazon's DSP that looks a lot like a typical Amazon ad. You see it, it's from Amazon. Yeah. And so just being able to, it's responsive. And so it'll tie back, show the deals that you have. And so it's really helpful because people see it, they know they're going back to Amazon, they already have that trust, and you know what you're getting when you're clicking on it. And so, yeah, those ones are solid, especially for bottom of funnel strategies.
So that's for retargeting. Repurchasing, obviously, if you have consumable products, you want to increase CLV, make sure that people are staying within brand. So knowing what the average purchase cycle looks like, making sure you're showing up just before, as they're getting to the last bit of whatever it may be. It could be milk, could be collagen powder, it could be calcium. Just knowing when people are starting to get low, start to serve them ads. Make sure that they're staying in brand with us, because likely it took a good amount of investment to get them into the door for the first time, And you don't want to throw that away. You want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to retain the sales you work so hard to get. So ROAS is typically great for those, the second time people are coming around. It's usually a lot cheaper, which is, what we would expect. And then another one is cross promo. So if you have like products within your portfolio, making sure that people are aware of the other things that you sell. So if you sell baseball bats and baseballs, on Prime Day, if you're running cross promo, it'd be targeting the people who have purchased the bats with the balls. That's a pretty simple instance. I think everybody would understand why you would want to do that. Really just making sure then that there's purchase exclusions for category of baseballs, making sure that people who bought the bats didn't buy a different brand's balls at the same time. So there's a little bit of complexity with just making sure that, these people truly are still in the market for your product likely. So cross promo is another great thing, and increase in subscribe and save. You could run specific discounts for subscribe and save. Some of my clients did. So making sure we're targeting the people who are consistently purchasing our products in the last 30, the last 60, the last 90 days independently of one another. So they purchased 30 days ago, they purchased 31 to 60 days ago, so on and so forth. We want to show them our subscribe and save offer for Prime Day to make sure that, we are moving them to the most brand loyal portion, I guess, of the customer journey.
Sure.
So, there's a bunch of things that you can do in that we're done on Prime Day.
Yeah. And so so that's Prime Day itself. And for those looking for a good overview on Prime Day, like in general, Prime Day was really solid for our clients this year, which was awesome to see. Maria from our team, she did a great overview on kind of key trends that we saw. We also compared like people who ran deals versus people who didn't run deals. So if you want a key breakdown of what Prime Day looked like for us, we've got a newsletter. You can go to adadvance.com. You can sign up for it. A lot of great information there. So I highly encourage you to check it out. But yeah, Prime Day, the day of, or the 2 days of, went really well. And so we were pleasantly surprised, especially just with general economy. We didn't know exactly how this one would shape up. So that was really, really cool to see. Mm-hmm. All right. So Prime Day is done. Now what happens? So now what's key strategies that you're implementing, or anything cool that we can do to on the backside of the tentpole strategy? So now we're starting to taper off, but how do we make use of all that extra traffic?
Yeah. So there's a lot you can do. A lot you can do. Specifically, one of the things that I think is most interesting from what's currently in place is using AMC to find cart abandonment shoppers, and then also using brand tailored promotions to give those people a discount. And it's kind of the intersection of that, because brand tailored promotions, you can kind of pick several audiences to choose from and give them and only them discounts to your product. So it's not, an Amazon wide, everybody who sees your product gets a discount, but more people who are fitting into these specific buckets. But they don't actually go out and serve these ads to these shoppers that are in these audiences. More so, they'll just give the discount once they see them. And the thought is they're still in the category, still searching around, so they'd see us organically or in a paid sponsored placement. But using AMC, we can, build add to cart audiences, throw in a purchase exclusion, and now we have cart abandonment shoppers for the last 90 days, the same time frame as this brand tailored promotions.
Sure.
So it's still trying to use a discount to get people to purchase, because, the thought is if they didn't purchase with a discount on Prime Day, 1 week after we don't have a discount anymore, retargeting is, there's still reasons why you would want to do it, but you probably won't see the same types of efficiencies as maybe you typically would expect. So using this strategy, you can still get that promotion. It's laser focused for who you're actually promoting to. And then using the DSP strategy to make sure that these people are aware you exist. You're continuing to get in front of them, pushing them across the finish line to ultimately purchase and check out your product in their cart.
So in this example, people would go in, say on Prime Day, or maybe even prior to Prime Day, and they've added my product to their cart, but then they didn't end up purchasing. So within AMC, you're able to go in and create a specific audience that targets people who have added to cart but have not purchased, say, in the last 365 days or something like that. And then you can serve them ads. So with the brand tailored promotions, you're able to set up specific deals that just pop up for people who meet certain criteria.
Yep.
Is that correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yep. Yeah. And so it's an item that's available if you go to advertising, and then there's brand tailored promotions, which are like if you're in Seller Central and you go to brand tailored promotions, it's a key piece that you can go in, and then it allows you to kind of edit what deals are provided based off of certain criteria. And then what Noah's saying is now what we can do is if there's these deals that are offered to just specific customers, now what we can do is we can use tools like Amazon Marketing Cloud to create this audience, and then use DSP, Amazon's DSP, to now show ads to this audience, which highlights the deal. Hopefully we can kind of push them over that line where they showed enough interest to add us to cart, didn't purchase day of. But now maybe that deal post Prime Day, I can really get them to make the move on it. Is that a good summary of kind of the general strategy that you're using?
Go figure, Joe. You nailed it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
No problem. You know what I'm here for.
Yeah. So no, it's a really cool strategy to implement. And what's really nice too is that, just offering general deals to everyone can be a big margin hit. But now if we can just offer them to specific people who are a lot less likely to purchase without that extra little push, that's where it can make a big difference. Because now, we need the ad to kind of show this to them. We need the deal. But without that, if we're looking at incrementality for our promotions and our advertising, this can be a bigger needle mover where without these ads or this promotion, you probably wouldn't have made the sale. Yeah.
Given that Prime Day has already occurred and you already had, significant discounts that you'd have expected, them to convert at that time frame.
Sure.
So yeah, it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what the results are. It's a little too soon to tell, but
yeah. Any other key strategies that you're utilizing post Prime Day, like in general? So looking at like still using retargeting or like any other key things that you're looking at or using kind of post event?
Yeah. So retargeting is big for clients that are really trying to make the most out of their investment on Prime Day. So really covering our bases, ensuring that the ad spend we incurred, the impressions we served, are continuing to provide value and to cement us within, I guess, consideration. So, retargeting is still big. Repurchasing, depending on pack size, again, that's really going to start, 30 days out post Prime Day, 25 days out post Prime Day. Just because, we had great days. We know that we had a bunch more shoppers looking at new to brand percentages with AMC and what's provided on the council. We know a lot of these people are new to brand. So, once we start to hit the windows where they're likely to be completing their purchase as far as taking the consumable good, we'll start some pretty aggressive repurchasing campaigns. So that hasn't happened yet. Obviously, it's, I don't even know, 9 days post Prime Day, 8 days. I'm bad at math sometimes. So yeah, that's on the horizon for us right now. Just retargeting where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that brand tailored promotions, add to cart abandonment thing. That's pretty exciting. So
yeah. And so that's just a fun update that we wanted to cover too. When you can start to stitch together these different programs that Amazon has, and how can you leverage advertising when there are these other targeted items we can include. Check out brand tailored promotions, see if it makes sense. And then if it doesn't, you really want to promote it using tools like Amazon's DSP, can be really valuable to then target the right people with those deals to really highlight that those deals are going on. Mm-hmm. So, well, Noah, it was really fun to have you on the podcast.
Thanks, Joe. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah. And again, for those who are listening, if you want more of a deep dive on what we saw during Prime Day, including results and our deal or no deal analysis that we tend to do after all these major shopping events, feel free to go over to adadvance.com, sign up for our mailing list. Got a lot of good info, and then we include like new features and everything that's coming out since this whole ecosystem is constantly changing. And as always, we really appreciate you listening to the Ad Project Podcast.
Bye, everybody.
And we'll see you on the next episode.